Last year you invited me, but I'm not able to reach in your reach in your program. Thank you very much. You are so patient with me. Invited again this year, and I am able to reach in your program. Once again, I congratulate your effort, especially in media, to promote the industry and their sustainable efforts to achieving what the goals we are targeting for our country. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is pleasure for me to be here amongst all of you at the Business World Sustainable Development Conclave. The increased focus on environment and larger issue of sustainability at media conclaves gives me hope that a greener India is indeed a possibility. As government make policies, it is media that helps in mobilizing public opinion and inspiring action. So congratulations Team Business World for selecting a topic at utmost relevance today. The fact that we are discussing sustainability at all level is also because the future of the earth, the only home we have, is in peril. It is a reminder that if our consumption pattern and lifestyle do not adapt, change with urgency, our planet will not be able to support life. We are often told one most thing too much to the of the past because live in the present and we move into the future. But once in a while, it's important to look back and wonder how we reached where we stand. And I say this because I fear while the world recognizes the symptoms of the problem, it is far from understanding the root of the problem. It takes no genius to understand lasting solution address the root of the problem and not mere system. Let me try to elaborate on this. You will find two kinds of people in these days. One who believe in catastrophism. They believe the world is about to end soon enough. And then there are the techno optimist. They believe the powers of invention will open unlimited horizons beyond the confines of the earth. They believe human ingenuity can tide over any crisis. Positively is good, but this sense of ultimate human superiority is at the root of what we are faced with today. The human race has been too intelligent for its own good. The intelligence allowed us to believe that we can beat nature into total submission. It is time for all of us to understand that our chances of survival will be better if adopt an accommodative approach to the planet rather than have a dictatorial sense. American scientist and ecologist Aldo Leopold called it land ethnic. Land ethnic believes the relationship between people and land are intertwined. Care for people cannot be separated from the care for the land. But this philosophy has forever been part of Indian ethos and reflect in saying, and that is the motto of our ministry also, Prakriti Rakshita Rakshat. That means nature protects when it is protected. I therefore want to emphasize that the prerequisite for sustainability is substitute human arrogance with human submission to nature. We cannot have technology to overpower the ecosystem. We must develop the empathy to coexist with it. holding the G20 presidency under the leadership of PM Shri Narendra Modi ji. India is pushing for this approach to be part of a global understanding. With India taking over the G20 presidency, the discourse around sustainable development, especially in the UN critical decade of action, has caught the global attention. The Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting in G20 has seen extensive deliberations on topic which had a sustainable development and climate resilience at its heart. The topic discussed included: first, land degradation, accelerating economic restoration and enriching biodiversity; second, promoting sustainable and climate resilience blue economy; and third, encouraging resource efficiency and circular economy. The Indian government under Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has shown this empathy and has tried to further it is with its mantra of lifestyle for my environment. Mission Life aims to nudge individual to adopt ways and do not harm but enrich nature. Some of you may ask, how to become a part of Mission Life? My simple advice: just think. If your action preserves the integrity, stability, and beauty of the environment, make this part of your life at every step. Just like we inculcate a civic sense in us, we can inculcate the environment sense too. Even as the Modi government is nudging these changes at the level of individual, a lot is happening at the policy formulation and implementation level to ensure a sustainable India. Several global agencies have acknowledged India as an economic bright spot. As the world's fifth largest economy and fastest growing major economy, we share a huge responsibility of also remaining a bright spot for environmental action. While economic growth since the Industrial Revolution has granted countries with greater economic prosperity, it has also entailed a grave cost of the environment. India, as country which believes in oneness with nature, is not ready to go down that path. Our path, the carbon neutral developmental path. We are not just after economic development, but sustainable economic development. India's contribution to cumulative emission is only about 4% from the pre-industrial period, though we have about 17% of the world's population. Our per capita annual emission are only about one third of the world average. And as a developing countries, with over 1.25 billion people, India remains committed to grow without polluting. India's nationally determined contribution is ambitious, and they make a significant contribution towards achieving the temperature goals of the Paris Agreement. At COP26 in Glasgow, our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji further presented five nectar elements, Panchamrit, including the goal of reduction in carbon intensity of its economy by less than 45% by 2030 and net zero target by 2070. Despite the adverse impacts of the pandemic on the economy, India has enhanced its climate ambition. India is spearheading one of the most ambitious clean energy transition in the world. India has already achieved reduction of 24% in emission intensity in its GDP between 2005 and 2016. Globally, India stands fourth in terms of installed renewable energy capacity, fourth in terms of wind installed capacity, and fifth in terms of solar installed capacity. But a sustainable future is not just about cutting down emissions. India has adopted a whole of environment approach toward the goal of achieving a sustainable future. Despite being the fastest growing economy in the world, India is taking giant strides at the domestic and international levels in tackling the triple planetary crisis in form of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. The Union Budget of 23-24 laid down the vision of green growth across multiple sectors, with the underlying thought being that all future growth in the country has to essentially be green. This validated how sustainable development has been in Indian policy making the progress. Just this month, on World Environment Day, I had the privilege of launching Mishti, Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitat and Tangible Incomes, envisioned by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Modi ji and announced in the budget. Through Mishti, increased mangrove plantation will help in ecological stabilization, provide protection against cyclones, support biodiversity, and create blue carbon sinks. Similarly, the promotion of wetland conservation through Amrit Dharohar has biodiversity conservation and carbon sequestration benefit. The outlay of 19,1700 crore toward the National Hydrogen Mission will be instrumental in boosting the production of green hydrogen, which will be significant in the decarbonization pathways of the country, particularly the core sector such as refineries, coals, and steel plants. Ladies and gentlemen, these initiatives will not only provide to be a significant in achievement of Panchamrit announcement, they will also result in increased job generation, particularly for the youth. India has already submitted its long-term low-emission development strategy, document at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, which is premised on two major pillars of climate justice and sustainable lifestyle alongside principle of CBDRRC. That means common but differentiated responsibility. With this, India has joined of select 58 countries who have submitted their new or updated long-term low-emission development strategy. Since the last World Sustainable Development Summit, India has got 75 Ramsar wetland sites, 33 elephant reserves, 53 tiger reserves, 12 blue flag beaches. We have also successfully implemented single-use plastic ban, updated our NDCs, reintroduced cheetahs from two countries, and demonstrated a strong and bold leadership at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh and CBD COP15 in Montreal. While India prides in these achievements, it remains mindful of the long road ahead that need to be covered. India is also mindful of the fact that this is not a journey any country can undertake alone. It requires the coming together of the entire world. As the G20 president, India is showcasing leadership toward formulating inclusive, ambitious, decisive, and action-oriented policy. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to go back to where I began. The climate crisis taught the human race a huge lesson. We are part of a whole. Despite our intelligence, we are not the whole. The birds, the sun, the trees, the lions and tigers all belong to this whole, we all, nature. Let us protect them all and be protected by them. Thank you for having me here today, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Jai Hind, Jai Hind.